So more Matchday 37 summaries now. These were played last night on Monday. First up then, Sheffield United against Everton. Early corner for Newwood on 14 minutes. Got Pat Pickford flapping a little bit to try and clear his lines. Not a lot to report after that. But on 40 minutes, again Pickford had to push a dangerous cross from Basham to safety. And then just before the interval, real purposeful effort from Everton, Walcott across to the far post, and a Calvert-Lewin header hit a post. But we were blank at the break, goalless, into the second half. A minute in actually, a glorious free kick by Sigurdsson found Richarlison, and his powerful header hit the corner of the net, and it was 1-0 to Everton. 57 minutes, Calvert-Lewin again bullying Egan and got his shot away, but Henderson was good enough. 76 minutes, a Sharp half chance Sharp got a half chance. He had come on as a substitute, but the ball seemed to get caught up in his feet, so the chance quickly disappeared. 80 minutes, another shot from a confident Everton, Gomez this time, just wide of the mark. And then 84 minutes, nice passing movement by the Blades, put through Baldock, but his header sailed just over. A little disappointing Sheffield United on this occasion. Everton much improved. Final score at Bramall Lane, Sheffield United 0, Everton 1. To the Amex then, Brighton at home to Newcastle. Joe Linton was on the bench and Gale still up front. This is a pretty disappointing match, so the highlights will be pretty slim. Mopé hit a post on 2 minutes. Brighton on the left side were having some success against the Newcastle side that looked a little bit off the pace. 34 minutes, Mopé again fed Trossard this time in the box, but his effort was just wide of Dubrovska's post. Into added time, a late effort from Gale headed over after a good corner from Ritchie. So goalless at the break. Second half, Almiron had a flick shot after some good work from Ritchie, but Ryan was good enough to clear the ball. And 75 minutes, probably the best chance of the match really, to Webster pushing forward from distance his effort, but Dubrovka put it over the top. And then 5 minutes before the end, Carroll, who'd come on as sub, he got a yard of space in the box, but his header from the corner went wide. Back in the old days, that would certainly have hit the back of the net. But anyway, a disappointing result, but it guarantees Brighton will be playing Premier League football next season. Newcastle probably not that disappointed in getting a point either. So final score at the Amex, Brighton 0, Newcastle 0. Right, the final game then on this Monday evening was at Molineux Moors against Crystal Palace. Dreadful run for Palace. I think they've lost the last 7. Wolves still pushing for that Europa League place, and they looked at full strength, although Jota was replaced by Podence in the starting lineup. For Palace, Sloop was retained, still no Benteke of course. Van Aanholt now has joined the casualty list, so Hodgson gave a debut for some of the youngsters. 12 minutes, Jimenez got his shot away although it was pretty easy for Gaeta. On 26 minutes, Sloop managed to get himself a clearer volley after the error by the defender, but his shot went just wide. Free kick for Townsend on 37, but it was really easy for Patricio. And then the breakthrough on 40 minutes, Podence in the 6-yard box, headed home, after some great work by Martinho, who found Doherty overlapping. It was a really slick move by Wolves, very typical of the work that they've been doing regularly all season. And so they went into the break 1-up. And into the second half, Traore came into his own. He got through, broke clear, but his shot was cleared by Gaeta's legs. 67, another swift move down Traore's right, and he cuts it back to Jimenez, who unselfishly just laid it off for Johnny, and he did a 360-degree turn and managed to get a great connection in the corner. A really sweet move, and the Wolves had doubled their lead 2-0. There was a slight chance on 75 for Palace, but Zaha involved, but he had a quiet night really, and I'm afraid the pain goes on for Hodgson. Another defeat. Nino Espirito Santo, he was delighted because they virtually guaranteed that Europa Cup place now. Final score at Molineux was Wolves 2, Crystal Palace 0. Second Tuesday match, Villa Park. Aston Villa at home to Arsenal. Arsenal buoyant after their semi-final win in the FA Cup against Manchester City, and El Mohanady involved in the early action. Him and McGinn, who eventually headed it over the top. 26 minutes, a corner on the left, across through to Trezeguet on the right side of the penalty box. I don't know what Arsenal's defence was doing, but it went clean through to Trezeguet, and he hit the ball with extreme power. It flashed past Martinez, and Villa were 1-up. And they were good value for it. 44 minute, another break by Grealish. He does look a class player, and we certainly need his likes in the Premier League. His shot was just wide from long distance, but good on the eye. And then another cross for Arsenal this time, lifted higher and over by Sake. That was in the second half. 56 minutes. Arsenal again scrappy in defence, and fortunate that Konsa's shot was deflected wide. Lack of punch in Arsenal. After really playing well against City, they were really a disappointment here. Davis put through by the impressive Grealish, but he dragged his shot just wide. There was also an effort by Nketiah, who hit the bar, but I didn't see that in my highlights. But Villa hung on for a really precious win. They took the game by 1-0, and now they are, as a result of Watford's defeat, out of the bottom three. So, anything's possible. So, to Tuesday's action in the Premier League. This is the penultimate game, of course, of the season. This first one, Watford at home to Manchester City. Of course, Watford took the crazy decision of sacking Nigel Pearson at the weekend and installed Hayden Mullins, who was first team coach, or reserve coach, where they put him in charge anyway for 2 games. What he's expected to do in 2 games, you will speculate. But anyway, he was in, and he was facing Manchester City with their runaway attack. Team news, I didn't actually catch those, but the game, well, it wasn't really a game at all. It was a training exercise. 10 minutes, Rodri strike from 30 yards brought out the best of Foster, who deflected it round the post. 21 minutes, another attack with Watford's defence at full stretch. This time the last contact by Foden was blocked. Then on 30 minutes, eventually the breakthrough. Walker marauding down the right wing. His cross managed to get a deflection off Hughes, and landed perfectly for Sterling. But he still had some work to do, and it was a clinical, precise strike, and they were 1-up. 8 minutes later, they were doubling their lead. Again, Sterling causing absolute havoc in the box. But Foster managed to get a save to his effort. But it was then poked in by Sterling again. Always quick to follow up his efforts, Sterling. So that's 2-0. It was all City, really. De Bruyne poked an effort wide, and in added time, we saw a one opportunity for Watford. Dawson heading wide from a free kick, but it was really easy for the keeper, Edison. So 2-0 at the break. Second half, well, it was much the same, really. Early half chances, though, for Sterling. But Watford did have one from Sarr. But 60 minutes, an absolutely monster free kick from 30 yards. Forced another great tip over by Foster. He was certainly earning his match fee. And on 62 minutes, Sterling was put through for the hat-trick. But Foster managed to get a block on it, but it spilled to the waiting Foden, who pushed it home, and that was 3-0 for City. 66 minutes, Laporte up from the back, headed in a De Bruyne free kick to make it 4-0. There was a chance on 77 for Welbeck. He did get ahead of the defence, but he couldn't beat Edison, who blocked the effort. Pereira had played for Watford, but he had been substituted by Welbeck. And that was about it, really. Watford off to, well, a start that you really would dread if you were given the job of keeping them up with 2 games to go. But that's what Mullins is in for. The match at Vicarage Road then ended Watford 0, Manchester City 4. Old Trafford, the venue. Manchester United at home to West Ham. West Ham were almost safe. United, of course, given the defeat by Leicester, were now in a position to go ahead of the Foxes with a draw. And the goal difference was now the same. So a big game at Old Trafford. And early on, 2 minutes, Martial hit a shot, which Fabianski pushed safely behind. But there was a lot of wild shooting from the Red Devils. Very few of them even on target. But 30 minutes, a chance for West Ham. Osborne beat Maguire to a cross, and his header went inches wide. Rashford had a shot which warmed the palms of Fabianski, and Greenwood on 38 also had a shot that was blocked. And then a gilt-edged chance for Antonio from a cross, but his run was easily dealt with by De Gea. And then on added time, a ridiculous scenario, free kick to West Ham from distance, a ferocious shot, it has to be said, but it went straight at Pogba, who put his hands up to defend his face. Of course, he's inside the box. So what does that mean? Penalty kick, of course, and Antonio stepped up to convert the penalty, and West Ham went to the break, leading by a goal to 0. 50th minute, Red Devils really up for it now. Some beautiful linking play between Pogba, Martial and Greenwood, and the final strike from Greenwood was typical of what the young boy's been doing since lockdown, and he converted in the corner to level the tie 1-1. After that, it was pretty open. West Ham certainly weren't closing up shop. A good counter-attack by Bowen, and a nice shot over, just went over. That was 62 minutes. Rice on 67 blasted just wide, another ferocious strike. All in all, we got to the final whistle. It was just about right. United hadn't dominated. West Ham looked very good value. Final score at Old Trafford: Manchester United 1, West Ham 1, and that was good enough for them to go above Leicester. So a big night at Anfield for the visit of Chelsea. The Premiership trophy was delivered into the hands of the Liverpool players and staff at the final whistle. They had their families there. It was a jubilant occasion, even though there was no fans to witness it. But let's get to the match. Henderson still out with an injury, catering for him. Lampard still persisting with this Zuma-Rudiger combination in defence. Kepa back in, of course. He doesn't play FA Cup. But early on, James in midfield as well. So off we went, and Giroud also still keeping the number 9 shirt away from Abraham. 7 minutes, an early raid by William, and he put Mount in, who headed over. And then 15 minutes, a shot from distance for the impressive James, actually in midfield for this one, and it just went over. And then at 22 minutes, Keita, a tremendous shot from outside the box from 30 yards below. It blasted the crossbar and went in, and Liverpool had taken the lead by a 1-0, slightly against the run of play. And then 37 minutes, those typical free kicks just outside the box where the England youngster, Liverpool born of course, Arnold, stepped up. He bent the ball deliciously round the wall. It went in the corner, and Liverpool had jumped into a 2-0 lead. And 43 minutes, Robertson running down the left got his cross in, and it fell to Wijnaldum, whose clinical finish from about 6 yards meant it was 3-0. It looked like the game was up, but Chelsea were having none of it. In added time, Giroud forced the ball over the line after some impressive work by Willian. His shot was saved by Alisson from about 6 yards out, but they pulled it back to 3-1. Half-time score that. Then into the second half, 54 minutes, and Firmino headed in. That's his first goal at Anfield this season. Once again, a peach of a cross from Arnold. And so back in the ascendancy, Liverpool leading by 4-1. Pulisic had come on for Chelsea, and he really did make an impact. On 60 minutes, he marches through the defence. He was sidestepped about 2 challenges, and then he set up Abraham, who had come on for Giroud, and that was 4-2. And Pulisic himself managed to get in on the act. His first effort on 63 was just wide of Alisson, but 72 minutes, Odoi coming down the right fed Pulisic in the box, and he did a great turn and shot all in one motion into the right side of the goal. And amazingly, it was game on with Liverpool leading by 4-3. And then the killer goal, 83 minutes. Another piece of good work by Robertson, who managed to evade his marker on a counter-attack. His cross from the right was met perfectly by Chamberlain, who'd come on as a sub, and his shot whistled past Kepa, and that was 5-3. It could have been 6. In added time, Van Dijk clipped an effort over from about a yard out, but it mattered little. We had reached the final whistle. The result of the match: Liverpool 5, Chelsea 3, and then of course we had the celebrations. The first title for 30 years. Anfield was in great voice. It was quite noisy, even though there was no one there. the interviews to Henderson, to Klopp, and the picture of the side with the trophy. All in all, a tremendous effort by Liverpool, fully deserved, and they've won the Barclays Premier League for the first time in 30 years. So that sorts it out at the top, as we already knew. The situation now, with Chelsea having lost this match, puts Manchester United into third place, ahead of Chelsea, and they are ahead on goal difference, and Leicester are 1 point back. So the scenario at the weekend, we have Wolves visiting Chelsea. They are in 6th, but they can have no impact on those teams in 3, 4 and 5, even if they were to win. They can't improve their own position. Of course, if they were to beat Chelsea, then that would have huge ramifications for Leicester. So if Chelsea get a point, then they are into the Champions League. If Leicester beat Manchester United and Leicester get a point, then Manchester United will miss out. If Manchester United get a draw with Leicester, then Chelsea, if they don't get a draw, they will miss out. Are you still following this? And of course, if Leicester lose, it will remain Man U in 3rd and Chelsea in 4th. So lots to play for. Down at the bottom, well, it looks inevitable now that Bournemouth are going to join Norwich. It's just a case of whether it's going to be Watford or Villa. Villa are in the driving seat. They've got to go to Southampton. Difficult place to go on the last day. But Watford have Arsenal away. Well, they're so unpredictable, it could be anything. So still lots to play for in the final round of the Premier League. That will be on Sunday. All matches kicking off at the same time, a full 10 matches, and I can't wait.